What's going on, guys? William Barry here, coming at you live from the power of the internet. And, you know, my girlfriend told me a long time ago, she's a fan of some older music, that one of her favorite bands was called Dire Straits. I think she even might have showed me this song one time in the car, or I might have seen the video, kind of, sort of, but I don't remember anything of it. I don't think I've ever really got into this song, and I don't know much about them. But I do make songs over on a website called Suno, and one of my songs, she said, reminded her of Dire Straits. And with it being one of her more favorite bands, I figured that I should probably jump into it and give it a good reaction. I mean, like, you know what they say, bro? A happy wife, a happy life. Oh, God. Hopefully, I don't say anything negative. I am always capable of saying, like, the wrong thing. Mm. We've been on a pretty big rap kick over here on YouTube, so it's pretty kind to come back and just listen to like a soothing guitar say more than words ever could. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I don't know what it is, but just a solemn guitar atop eerie feelings, and it just hits, man. It's a vibe. Isn't that the way the young people say it these days? It's a vibe. I don't, guys, listen. I'm trying to stay relevant here.
These mist-covered mountains
Is that a kazoo?
are home now for me, but my home is the lowlands, and always will be.
I will say. All right. So
Some
let me say a few words here. Um, I will say, as someone who makes a lot of AI music, I mean, I have I think 200 something thousand plays on Suno, which isn't that much, but like I'm doing pretty good for myself, and I enjoy the music I make. It's really fun. Something that is hard to admit, and I mean, not really hard to. It's actually really easy to admit because I'm not much of a man of ego. But something that I don't want to have to admit is that this has such a different type of like register that like no matter what I do, it will never come out like this. Like the slow entry, the slow build up, mixed with like the perfect level of like soft, somber lyrics. Also, something that like classical music or more classical music does, like especially stuff that's been written around with like music theory in mind, unlike a lot of Suno artists that are just complete amateur fucks like myself that throw stuff out there into the wind and hope that it sounds good, is that like they didn't use overcomplicated words, and they used very simple words that could relay the maximum amount of feeling on any given topic, but also something that was digestible, repeatable, singable, and also like added a higher level of universality to like music production. But they did it with a way of like it was a heavy weight. Like if you type into AI and say, "Hey, make this song sound punchier," and it adds in like some lines or whatever, like or make it sadder, like versus someone who thought long and hard about the placement of that word and why that word is there and what that word is supposed to entail. Songs were written over the course of days, months, sometimes years, where they argued painstakingly over why that word is there. And even though that word might sound simple, and you'd be like, "Well, I probably wrote this in 5 minutes." No, dude. Like, it's a different world. AI nowadays can just hammer out a track in 10 seconds. Now, I typically write a lot of my original music, but, you know, I can write a track in 30 minutes, and it's not the same thing. It doesn't hold the same weight, the same significance. Now that song really means something to me, and I really thought that it needed to be made. That's why I made it, and I really like it. But that doesn't mean that like it means anything outside of just my own personal preference. Versus a song like this, where each word was painstakingly picked to fulfill like a feeling, a motif, a vibe, like all of it combined into one thing. I'm about it, dude. I'm about it.
But my home is the lowlands, and always will be. Someday you'll return.
I will say the fact that I can't stop thinking about Final Fantasy VII when it's playing because that kazoo reminds me of one of the towns. Like, bro, why is this song making me think about Final Fantasy VII, bro?
Your valleys and your farms, and you'll no longer burn to be brothers in
Hey, that motherfucking guitar is singing, dude. It's a low strum right now, though.
Through these fields of destruction, baptism.
I will say I normally do not like that step up sound. Usually when a song steps up like that, I don't really enjoy it. It's usually like one of my least favorite portions of a song. But that step up was really good. It didn't sound forced at all. You know what I mean? And it didn't sound like it ruined the tonality of the song.
Of fire. I've witnessed your suffering as the battle reached high, and though it hurt me so bad in the fear and alarm, you did not desert me, my brothers and I.
So is this like a memorial song or something? Like people that died and you're just remembering them? Or... Because I feel like it can be applied in different ways. Like it can be applied for someone who's left the mortal coil, obviously. But also someone... I mean, that might be the core theme. But I think like... Think about it like... Not necessarily like a soldier or a brother, but like a father, like a countryman or someone like that. But also like a brother in arms as well. It can even be like a shared thing between nations. Like think about it from the concept, because like, you know, my girlfriend is Canadian and I'm American. There was a time that America and Canada were much more close, and usually with better reasons. Like back in 2016, despite Canada being our closest neighbor, they were like ranked third or fourth as the people that were most like amicable to or had favorable opinions of of Americans. The highest being Japan, which is ironic because that's someone that we literally put a nuke in their ass, and that shouldn't track the way that it does. But like think about it from that perspective of like two nations that at one time had strong relations, and then because one nation's thirst for power or pushing their crazy agenda might have fractured that friendship over time. But also, it's been pretty common among Canadians to be unfavorable to Americans for a while.
There's so many different worlds, so many different suns, and we have just one world.
I like that line though. There are so many different worlds, so many different suns, but we have just one. Think about that from obviously the concept of like the universe. That's pretty cool. But think of that from just the concept of like everyday choices. Like one of the things that's really hard to admit is that free will isn't exactly the way that we have ordained it. Like you don't have the free will to change like certain aspects of yourself. Like it's not like the way we used to believe that you could just pray the gay away. That's not a way that it works. Free will doesn't really facilitate that whatsoever. Something that could be interesting though is that like you are born with things that you don't get to dictate or have control over, such as like the color of your skin, your sexual orientation, the gender that you're typically picked with, and stuff like that. Um, all of these things are kind of forced upon you, and then once you have that like your prerequisite of information, then you get to make choices around that, like within the periphery of what you are. So there is definitely some forms of determinism that definitely like force itself in a lot of ways into your life, like from bad things that happen to you. That's not typically a choice. Usually, that is someone choosing to do something against you. Um, but then there's also like the way that you interact with that information and the way that the world does things. Now, some people that believe in hard determinism would argue that you don't ever have choice in the matter and that like you are just a byproduct of like your DNA and lived experiences based off of like different events and stuff like that. I don't really play into all that. To me, that's kind of a cop out and bullshit. And I think it's been largely disproven with quantum. I think there's a quantum thing. I can look. I'm not a smart guy. If I was, I'd be working in a lab instead of doing dumb YouTube videos, right? I'm not any of those things. I'm just a guy who used to work on cars for a living, But like the split theory or whatever through quantum mechanics or whatever, or quantum, I can't remember. It's like where they put a telescope or something in this thing, and you get down to like the molecular level, and things weren't replicating the way that they should, as if they would in the deterministic universe. So outside of the hard determinism, a lot of people have something called compatibility. I don't even know how to say the word anymore. Um, where there's kind of a blend of free will and deterministic values. And that we always kind of have a choice within the math and how we're playing the game. Um, Something that to me is really important, though, is if you were to look at it from that lens, it would really give you like a weird way of viewing things. Like you have one life to live, and you have all of these various amount of choices to make, but like you only have the one thing that they can interact with outside of just like the beautiful wordplay and out of the beautiful analogy that was like there are millions of stars or essentially infinite stars in the universe and infinite planets in the universe based off of like compared to like our limited level of understanding, right? It might as well be infinite, even though it's not. Like I think there's a finite amount of things, we just don't know what the finite amount is. So like, but then having one, that's a very it's a very powerful idea, because even like if you were to apply that to nation states, like yeah, there are a bunch of countries here, but I live in the one that I live in, and so I kind of have to play by these rules and by these things and by these norms, or this could be applied in so many different ways, and yet it's just such a beautiful line in a song that's also just like as close to an absolute truth as that we can absolute truth that we can manage. I don't believe in absolute truths. I believe in proximity to truth. Because absolute truth means to me that it would exist the same throughout time, but we have no way to verify, So I don't believe in absolute truths, but I like the idea that a song, what was this from like the fucking 90s or 80s, was touching on stuff that we only loosely understood back in the day. To me, that's fucking awesome. And it can be applied unilaterally through multiple things. I think that's cool.
But we live in different worlds.
This is also like proof that you don't need high energy. Something that I think a lot of modern music misses these days is that they're built on the concept of like 180 beats per minute, high energy, high octane, and like rap has gotten so pointed to the like where it's just so fast, like, and like people are just built on these like catchy things, like a song with somber undertones like this that can still like give you like, it even gives me like kind of like the Eagles vibes, you know what I mean? In like, it's not necessarily upbeat. Like Hotel California is like they're one of the most legendary songs, and that has a really good solo. It's got some really good like play to it, but it doesn't have like that spastastic thing that just happened in the late 90s and just has been present ever since. Hell, even rock and roll and like grunge music kind of like played into that. Like now grunge was a lot more sludgier and lower down and lower registers, but I don't know, man. I do like that something that can just be more built around a vibe than essentially anything else. And we need more music that fulfills that role these days. More of an ambiance, less than a I'm important, listen to me. Ironically, as I make YouTube content talking about my opinions on other people's artwork. So, I mean, take what I say with a grain of salt.
Now the sun's gone to hell. The moon's riding high. Let me bid you farewell. Every man has to die.
Nice. Say what you will. Every man has to die. I bid you farewell. That reminds me, there's an Alice in Chains song where I can't remember the name of the song, and I can't remember even what the whole song was about, but there's always the line that stuck out to me, that you, my friend, I will defend. And then there's like another line about it, but like about how death will eventually take them or something. I can't remember all of it, bro. It's been years since I've listened to it. But like, bro, I fuck with that heavily. Like one of the things that I write a lot about in my music is that death is an eventuality. Like it's one of the sure things of this world that we will never get to like essentially bypass. Unfortunately, despite our best efforts. Which is a total bummer because like who wants to die, right? But I think that's also, and this might be a cop out, and this might be like age old wisdom that everyone said once in their life before. But like, I think that's what also gives our life so much meaning and merit. Like there was an old time back in the day, and the reason why like the Greek gods and the Roman gods were so interesting was because you could clearly tell they were jealous of humanity and what humanity had. Because what humanity had was fleeting. Like these were pious, pompous individuals that thought they were better than everybody because they were gods. But even then, they were still jealous because they were these just miscreants with powers. I think that's really interesting to me. That like, despite for all of our weaknesses and fallibility, that's also what gives us like, what makes someone great is when they resist those things. You know what I mean? I think that's a really interesting thing. It gives you a different perspective on the meek. Meek is not necessarily a bad thing. I like that. I like it a lot.
Every man has to die. But it's written in the stars. In every line in your fools to make war, all our brothers in arms.
I will say, I hate to interrupt another solo that's fucking hitting right. One of the crazy things about war, and I don't wish war upon anybody. War is a bad thing. I don't want ever to be war ever. Death is like a universal bad, dude. I would prefer a world in which we all got along. But one of the few plus sides of war, and something that we kind of hold up in the Western world, especially, well, it's not just us. Like Japan had an entire culture for it. Like we all kind of hype up our warriors in some form of propaganda. But like, the brotherhood that these people share is unlike anything that most of us truly understand. Could you imagine going through something as traumatic as war and like the actions and things you did taking human life, even if you felt entirely justified? There's a reason why soldiers come back with PTSD is because they're doing something that like deep down their body and mind knows they shouldn't be doing. But they have good reasons for why they're doing it, which is why anyone picks up the mantle. They're trying to secure and preserve a future for their children and the safety of who they are, and they're all their stuff. Like, think about why Ukraine's fighting now. It's a beautiful reason that they're fighting, and though it is a shame that those people are dying, it's a complete shame, and we should support them in any way we can. But like, the thing they're fighting for, when we talk about death or something, we misunderstand. Like, it's not just that they're dying; it's that what they're dying for. It's a beautiful thing. They're fighting for a state, for a country, for autonomy, for, you know, individual an individual Ukraine free from the clutches and power of like a Russian sovereign state. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't think of a more justified reason to pick up a rifle. And like, some of these people are still willing to die and do this fight for that. And for us to go, well, how many people, they should just surrender. It's a losing battle. It's like, dude, you don't, fuck off. That's not the point, dude. It's not about a losing battle this, a losing battle that. And it's about fighting for what you believe in. We're a little more spoiled in our world these days, and for good reason. But the camaraderie that people undergo under this kind of traumatic experience is unlike anything else. And look, I'm not even a military guy. The military people don't often like me, bro. I mean, I stand for a lot of the things they wrongfully represent. You know what I mean? Like, I stand for total individuality. You know what I mean? Like, I'm completely free of like the thought and process of like, I could never go through like the reprogramming that like they make you go through in military academy. Like, I just wouldn't be able to do it. I'm fat, I'm obese, I'm selfish, you know, all these negative qualifiers that when like these people that sacrifice and give themselves up for a bigger cause, when I run across them in real life, they just don't like me. And I understand why. I represent the rot to them and the society that they are trying to build. So I'd never really get along with military people. Despite my family all being hyper military and stuff like that. For me, I can say all these beautiful things about the military. I personally am uncomfortable around soldiers, and almost every fist fight I've been in the last like few years or the last 10 years is usually with like a drunk military personnel that doesn't like something about me. But all that being said, these people undergo some of the most like traumatic experiences in the world, and the camaraderie that they form with those people, like, dude, it just can't be understated. Like, even like lovers cannot really understand it. Like, when you're in a foxhole with someone and you literally think you're gonna die, and the only thing you have is your brother next to you, like, it's a different experience, man. Like, think about how close gamers are, and their life is literally never on the line, dude. I know homies from video games that I'll know my entire life, dude. It's a different thing when trauma's involved, bro. That guitar was singing. Just fucking singing, my dude.
Build client credibility with Gmail.
Let's mute that.
Professional with a custom business.
Let's mute that so you can talk. Older music like this that can stand the test of time is something that, like, you know, as an AI music guy, you know, and it pains me to say it, that my music will probably never be remembered this fondly, or by however many people. Like, I might have a handful of people that like my tracks, you know what I mean? Like, my girlfriend says she does. You know, I have a handful of listeners that show up for them. But, like, a song like this that just is timeless, that exists outside of, like, outside of individual feeling. Like, it has like the highest level of universality a song could possibly have. Like, you can listen to this song at any time in history and understand the universal concept of, like, the things these people leave behind, like the sacrifice these guys have given for country, for belief, for I mean, fucking anything, dude. The cost they pay to build the country that we get to inherit every day. It's absolutely beautiful, man. And it's like a weight that we all, I feel like, intrinsically understand, other than maybe like the worst of our liberals in America. Like the worst of our liberals are like, I mean, are anti-military, which, I mean, I'm uncomfortable around military people, despite my whole family being military. But like, this is like a language that we can all get behind, bro. And I'm about it, dude. Fucking sender, bud. Thank you, Kia, for making such a wonderful recommendation. This track was amazing. And I'm very glad to get into another band. You guys have yourself a wonderful day. Please be safe and party as hard as you can. Until the next video, see you then.
Stories sealed in rooms where no light follows. Drifting through the smoke just to stay awake. Praying to a sky that will never break. Still nothing descends for me.